My career, it has happened many, many times since when someone would intimidate me or scare me and take something that I believe was mine. Get between somebody and their paper. Taking a man's livelihood away from him is akin to killing him.
This just in, the Texas attorney who targeted Sean Diddy Combs with dozens of civil lawsuits on behalf of John and Jane Does allegedly victimized by the music mogul has a new target in his sights, NFL legend Shannon Sharpe.
To my family, friends, supporters, and colleagues, I want to speak to you directly and from the heart. This is a shakedown. I'm going to be open, transparent, and defend myself because this isn't right.
In Hollywood, getting too powerful is practically a death sentence for your career, and Shannon Sharpe is learning that the hard way. Just as he was on the verge of locking down a $100 million media deal, a lawsuit exploded that threatened to tear everything down. But what if this was a calculated move to bring down a man who dared to expose the industry's darkest secrets? Dave Chappelle, Katt Williams, even Mariah Carey all tried to warn us about what happens when you get too big for their system. Now Shannon's facing the consequences. The story erupted when news broke that a woman identified only as Jane Doe filed a stunning lawsuit against Shannon Sharpe in Nevada, accusing him of a series of disturbing acts that allegedly took place during a brief relationship in 2023. According to court documents, Jane Doe claims she first met Shannon at a Los Angeles gym when she was 19 years old. From there, she describes a rapid spiral into a toxic relationship marked by manipulation, control, and terrifying threats. Her lawsuit alleges that Shannon not only pursued her obsessively, but also engaged in non-consensual acts, threatened violence, and even recorded intimate encounters without her permission. Jane Doe's accusations present an image of physical dominance and psychological intimidation. The legal team representing Jane Doe is led by none other than Tony Busby, the high-profile Texas attorney. According to the lawsuit, Shannon's behavior escalated to the point of Jane Doe fearing for her safety. One particularly shocking claim involves an incident where Shannon allegedly grabbed her by the neck after seeing her try to send her location to friends for help, warning her that if she ever tried that again, the consequences would be deadly. Jane Doe outlines multiple incidents claiming that Shannon used fear, manipulation, and his fame to control her. She also alleges that he leaked intimate moments online, further escalating her trauma. Now she's demanding a jury trial and $50 million in damages, citing lasting emotional, physical, and psychological harm. But there's an even more unsettling detail that's putting fuel on the fire: the timing. Just as Shannon was set to make one of the biggest moves of his career, this lawsuit arose seemingly out of nowhere, and whispers suggested that this wasn't just a legal battle. It could be something far more calculated. One of the first major insider voices to hint that something deeper was at play was none other than Dave Chappelle. Sources close to Dave revealed that he had actually warned Shannon months before that something like this could happen.
Most would have to run the streets for years to learn a lesson that profound. It took me 2 seconds. Never get between somebody and their paper.
After Shannon's Club Shay Shay interview with Katt Williams shattered YouTube records, there was a major disruption to the usual Hollywood narrative. Katt had called out industry corruption, secret deals, and the silencing of those who dare to speak up, and Shannon gave him the platform to do it. According to people behind the scenes, Dave Chappelle recognized the danger immediately. He reportedly cautioned Shannon that the industry doesn't take kindly to outspoken members. Chappelle had seen it all before. In his world, massive success without total obedience often comes with a heavy price.
It was completely outside of my frame of reference. I've been in show business since I was 14, and I've heard the stories of what happens, and I've seen these kinds of things play out in front of me.
Okay.
When
you say you heard the stories, what do you mean? What stories?
I mean, you see before, look, Mariah Carey made a $100 million deal, and 3 months later, she's all of a sudden mysteriously crazy. Or Martin Lawrence punches through, and he's waving a gun on the street screaming, "They're trying to kill me."
Yeah, we hear those stories.
And it always happens around the time of their career where it seems as though they're crossing over the next plateau.
Yeah. Would you say you lost your mind, sort of?
No.
No.
Not exactly.
Okay.
I wasn't crazy, but it's incredibly stressful.
Yeah.
And I felt like in a lot of instances, I was deliberately being put through stress.
These warnings were rooted within history. Mariah Carey's mysterious breakdown after a record-breaking contract, Martin Lawrence's bizarre street episode after challenging the system. Even Chappelle himself was branded crazy for daring to reject a deal that would have cemented his legacy. All these events followed the same eerie pattern. Too independent, and suddenly chaos ensues. If Dave Chappelle's warnings were right, Shannon Sharpe wasn't just facing a legal battle. He was facing a full-blown industry takedown. The kind carefully designed to destroy credibility, fracture support, and make any future success impossible. As speculation swirled about whether Shannon was the victim of a larger scheme, another detail emerged that made everything even murkier. It came to light that Shannon Sharpe had offered Jane Doe a staggering $10 million to quietly settle the matter before it ever reached a courtroom.
Shannon Sharpe tried to make the whole thing go away with $10 million, but y'all, it didn't work. His legal team just confirmed that he offered his accuser at least $10 million during private mediation talks before she hit him with that $50 million lawsuit.
For many observers, this brought forth questions. If the lawsuit was truly a baseless money grab, why offer such a massive payout behind closed doors? Official statements from Shannon's legal team tried to frame the offer as a way to avoid unnecessary scandal rather than an admission of guilt. But in the world of celebrity, private settlements are often seen as a way to avoid mounds of dirty secrets being aired in public. This gave critics ammunition, painting a picture of a man desperately trying to bury accusations that could ruin everything he had built. Shannon's own legal team was the one who confirmed this $10 million bribery during early court proceedings, acknowledging that discussions had taken place to make the lawsuit go away before it ever gained media attention. This offer reportedly came after private mediation talks, suggesting that there was an ongoing attempt to sweep the situation under the rug rather than confront it. Adding to the confusion was the fact that Tony Busby, Jane Doe's attorney, seized on the settlement offer immediately, using it as proof that Shannon must have something to hide. In public statements, Busby suggested that no innocent man would offer $10 million to silence a false accuser. Headlines blared about the massive hush money attempt, reinforcing the narrative that something far darker might be hiding beneath Shannon's public persona. In the days following the lawsuit's explosion across the media, an edited audio clip surfaced where Shannon could be heard threatening Jane Doe in no uncertain terms. In the recording, his voice was unmistakable, saying, "If you say that one more time, I'm gonna the blank out of you when I see you."
I don't know. Anything I say, you're just gonna like get mad at and you're just gonna hang up on me, so I feel like...
I'm not gonna hang up on you. It is what it is.
What does that even mean?
Nothing yet. You wanna be a dick to me now, so...
I don't wanna be... Don't manipulate me.
Oh, Lord have mercy. If you say that one more time, I'm gonna choke the shit out of you when I see you.
I don't...
You know what?
Well, I don't want to be tricked.
Yes, you do. I don't think you have a choice in the matter.
The clip spread like wildfire, fueling public outrage over Shannon's claims of innocence. The media didn't hesitate to paint Shannon as guilty before a single court ruling. Yet, like everything else in this unfolding drama, the truth behind the recording was far more complicated. Shannon's legal team quickly moved to respond, insisting that the clip had been heavily edited to strip away key context.
And I believe he's going to release a 30-second clip of tape that tries to make me look guilty and play into every stereotype you could possibly imagine. That video should actually be 10 minutes or so. Hey Tony, instead of releasing your edit, put the whole video out. I don't have it, or I would myself. You know what happened, and you're trying to manipulate the media. The encounter in question took place during the day at her invitation, and now that appears to be a deliberate setup, coordinated by Gabby, also known as Carly on OnlyFans.
According to them, the conversation had been part of a consensual fantasy scenario requested by Jane Doe herself during their relationship. They argued that the threat was part of the adult role-play dynamic that Jane Doe had allegedly initiated and enjoyed. Shannon's lawyer also pointed to text messages reportedly sent by Jane Doe where she requested aggressive behavior and even suggested using props like a dog collar. However, skeptics pointed out that Shannon's legal team hadn't publicly actually release the full unedited conversation, only descriptions. That omission fueled suspicion. For Shannon, the leaked audio created a no-win situation. Even if it was taken out of context, the damage was done. Once the public hears a threat of violence in a celebrity's own voice, explanations feel hollow. Meanwhile, those closer to the situation warned that the timing of the leak was no accident. Releasing a snippet without full context is a classic tactic to sway public sentiment before facts can catch up. It reinforced every worst assumption and stripped away any benefit of the doubt he might have had left. As Shannon battled to reclaim his image, Tony Busby began to gain power behind the scenes. Busby's reputation on the street is anything but simple. Known for his aggressive media tactics and high-profile cases, Busby has built a brand on taking down powerful men. Critics argue that Busby's strategy isn't just about seeking justice for his clients, it's about controlling the narrative long before a judge ever sees the evidence. His cases all follow a similar pattern. Strategically timed public accusations, heavy use of media pressure, and a flood of public sympathy before the facts are fully released. And that's exactly what happened with Shannon's case. Shannon's lawyers accused Busby of leading a smear campaign, citing the selective release of damaging evidence while withholding full context, and Shannon himself even pointed to a pattern where Busby seemed to specifically target high-profile black men.
This is all being orchestrated by Tony Busby, who has targeted Jay-Z. Tony Busby targets black men.
Whether this is true or not, Shannon definitely has something to worry about when it comes to fighting Busby and his team. Behind every headline-grabbing scandal in Hollywood, there's often a pattern that looks eerily familiar. Every time a black celebrity edges too close to success, controversy seems to appear out of thin air, perfectly timed to derail everything they've built. Mariah Carey secured a record-breaking contract only to be labeled unstable and cast aside months later. Martin Lawrence found himself spiraling into public incidents after making bold moves in Hollywood. Dave Chappelle turned down a massive deal and was immediately branded crazy and was isolated from major platforms for years. Shannon's trajectory fits right into that grim tradition. Club Shay Shay wasn't just a podcast, it became a cultural movement. It gave voice to people Hollywood had tried to silence. Guests like Katt Williams cracked the industry's carefully managed image wide open, and Shannon, by offering that platform without censorship, was shaking the system harder than he realized. When news of his impending $100 million media deal leaked, it painted an even bigger target on his back. In this industry, big contracts often come with silent understandings about what you can say, who you can criticize, and where your loyalty lies. Shannon's brand of raw honesty and unfiltered conversation made him someone who couldn't be easily controlled, and history shows the system doesn't work well with this type. But there's another side to this story that can't be ignored, and that's that Shannon's own choices left the door wide open for scandal. No matter how unfair or calculated this attack might seem, public figures are always judged not just by what's done to them, but by the environments they create around themselves. And for Shannon, engaging in a relationship with a 19-year-old OnlyFans model while being a 56-year-old media figure was a disastrous narrative from the start. Fans and critics alike pointed out the glaring age gap, questioning Shannon's judgment even before the lawsuit details emerged. Even those sympathetic to Shannon's situation found themselves cringing at the choices he made behind closed doors. The narrative shifted from outrage to disappointment, not just about the allegations, but about how easily Shannon had made himself vulnerable. Commentators across social media criticized not only the relationship's questionable power dynamics, but also the message it sent about Shannon's character. Instead of the wise, disciplined veteran of the industry he portrayed on Club Shay Shay, Shannon was suddenly seen as impulsive, reckless, and driven by desires that made him an easy mark. Adding to the criticism was the fact that Shannon preached about making smart moves, staying out of trouble, protecting your brand. Yet here he was, entangled in a scandal that wasn't just a personal failing, but a betrayal of the values he publicly proclaimed. But still, Shannon Sharpe isn't backing down quietly. Despite the tons of accusations, damaging headlines, and public backlash, he's preparing to fight to reclaim his name. In a bold move, Shannon has announced plans to countersue both Jane Doe and Tony Busby for defamation, making it clear that he doesn't intend to simply absorb the hit.
Gabby and Tony Busby want $50 million. What they're getting is sued for defamation and trying to take me down. My career is all about real talk and honesty. I know my family and fans know exactly what this is about. And I'm going to be out there telling you whatever I need to say, just like I always do. I love all you guys.
His legal team is framing the lawsuit as an organized campaign to extort money and destroy his career. Meanwhile, public opinion remains sharply divided. Some fans believe Shannon's downfall was engineered. They point to the timing, the sudden media storm, and the suspiciously perfect release of damaging evidence. But others argue that regardless of bigger conspiracies, Shannon's decisions made him an easy target. They point to the relationship with a much younger woman, the reckless private conversations, and the willingness to offer millions in a settlement. They believe Shannon is a man whose ambition outweighed his caution. Adding to the chaos is the fact that the lawsuit has derailed what could have been a massive career milestone. Reports indicated that Shannon was on the verge of finalizing a media deal that would have cemented his place among the top earners in broadcasting. Now, that future hangs in limbo. Potential partners are likely reconsidering their association with him, and the once unstoppable momentum of Club Shay Shay has slowed under the weight of scandal. Shannon Sharpe's battle is bigger than just one lawsuit. It's a glimpse into how power really moves behind the scenes. For Shannon, the fight to clear his name is just beginning, but the scars on his reputation might last far longer than any court ruling. His story is a warning. In the world of fame and fortune, the higher you climb, the harder they work to control your fall. Stay tuned, because the real battle might be just getting started.